This is clip 11. Daf Yud Kedushin, Daf Yud Tes Amud Aleph. Mar says that Aimer Adam, the Bita Ktana, man can give over his daughter, even though she's a Ktana, and she can be and tell her, go be Makabel Kedushin yourself. I give you permission. And Gemara says this is due as a result of the din of according to of Yud, according to Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda. Who is Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda? Okay, on Daf Yud Tes Amud Beis, we have a brisa to Sefta. Keitzad mitzvahs Yud. The Tanakh holds Aimer Lo B'fnei Shnayim Hariyat Mekudeshesli Afilu. Now, and this is Hariyat Mekudeshesli. Yeah, so the Adon or the son says Hariyat Mekudeshesli, and even if it's the Tanakh holds, even if it's the very last minute of Avdus, after Avdus, then nothing works anymore. It's all over, and he can't make Yud. Even though he loses Zolosh Kedushin, this is Yud. Yud, he doesn't have to have permission anymore. He gets it by the mere acquisition of the Ivri. So he says, Hariyat Mekudeshesli, even if it's the last day of Sheish, even if it's the last second of Sheish, even if it's right before Shkiyas Achama, it works. Rabbi Yossi says, Rabbi Yehuda says, that it doesn't work unless there's going to be enough avdus left in the sheish. I don't know how much a pruta's worth of avdus is, but it has to be a pruta's worth of avdus left, and that's what he uses to make yud with, the kedusha yud with. And if there isn't one, if it's right at the very last couple of seconds of the avdus of sheish, it doesn't work anymore. What does the Tanakh hold? The Tanakh holds that it's, you say, Mos Rishonos L'Kedusha Nitnu. The very first, the money that was given, that was used as purchase money for the Yom Ivriya, retroactively, Limafreya turns into Kedushin money. So we don't care if it's the last second of Avdus, as long as it's within the period of Avdus. He doesn't make Yud and Kedushin with the amount of Avdus, with the Shav Pruta of Avdus that's left, because we're talking in a case where there isn't that much left. He makes it with the original acquisition money, because we say Mos Rishonos L'Kedushin Nitnu. But Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda holds that we learn that from a pasuk. It says Asher Lo Yada V'Hefta, that a guy Yada, you want to make Yud. It says Asher Lo Yada, but we mean Yada. If you want to make Yud, V'Hefta, there has to be an ability to have made Geroy and Kesef, and if there's already no more Shavar Pruta left, you can't make Geroy and Kesef anymore. So he learns that. He would have also held Lafreon. Okay, so now, there's one nafkamina, whether there has to be a Shavar Pruta's worth of Avdus left, and there's another nafkamina. Gemara says that what would be if after she became an Amma, she was purchased as an Amma, before the Adon made himself Yiyud, she would accept Kedushin, or the father would accept Kedushin from somebody else. And so if you hold Mos Rishonos Kedushin Nitnu, that everything is retroactive L'Mafreya, so it's too late. I mean, the Adon, even after somebody else gives Kedushin money to the Av, the Adon can make Yud because his Kedushin money came first retroactively. But according to Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda, she would be Mekudeshes to the second guy, to the Acher, who came, as long as the Acher was Mekadesher before the Yud of the Adon. Now, there's going to be a couple of shittas in the Rishonim how this works. She's a Ktana, so how's giving money to her work? Now, we're not talking about an Amma. From the din of Amma that you could make, that Mos Rishonos Lav L'Kedusha Nitnu, and the Yud money is the money given to her later, we learn that a Ktana can do her own Kedushin as long as her father allows it. But before that, I'd like to point out that what about star. Rashi says, in other words, what happens by star? Does the star Lamafreya become star kedushin? So Rashi says, this is Rashi in Yud Chesam and Beis. Rashi says, Divra Maskal v'oid. No, Divra Maskal v'oid. Yeah. I'm ala Masai. What is this? What are we talking about? Yud. I'm ala Masai. Masai shonis lekadushin litnu lav lekadushin litnu. A guy says to Masai, Hare at Mukdash Yimiuadis Yeudali, Rashi, Bekesef Miknasayach, with the geld of your purchase. So it's mashma that it doesn't say Bekesef Miknasayach. This whole din of Lamafreya, not Lamafreya, is not the case. Actually, the Minchas Chinuch openly says so because he has a problem with the Rambam. The Rambam says, no, we have a machlokes in the Gemara, whether what happens in the shtar of Amavriya, who writes the shtar and who gives the shtar to who. Okay. Now we have the according to Rav Huna, the Adain writes the shtar, and he writes Bitcha Knuyali. Now this is and he gives it to the father, and this is, and Gemara says we learn this out from Kedushin, because by Kedushin, who writes the shtar? The Baal gives the shtar to either her or the father, and says Bitcha Knuyali at Knuyali. But Rav Chizah says no. Rav Chizah says the father writes the shtar, and the father says Biti Knuyaloch, and the father gives the shtar to the Adon. So. So now so that, and it's because like mecher. More says it's more like mecher, because by mecher, if I'm selling you my soda, I write sodai knuyalach, and me the mecher says sodai knuyalach. So the av is the mecher over here, and the adon is the kaina. So the av writes the shtar writes biti knuyalach. Okay. Well, whatever the case is, now the question is like this. The problem in the Rambam is that the Rambam paskins, in as far as money is concerned, if he says "Bekesef miknasayich hariyat miuadisli bekesef miknasayich," it's lamafreya, and the guy and then has all those two nafkaminas. You don't have to have any pruta left in the avdus, in the zman of the avdus. You don't have to have, and you also you beat anybody who became previous to you and tried to be Makadisher with the Av, because yours is retroactive. Yeah? So, the Minchas Chinuch, this is a Mem Gimel Ice. Oh, Yud Aleph, if I tell you wrong, it's either Yud Aleph or Yud Daled. Okay. If, right there, how can if the Rambam holds, and the Paskins Lamafreya, and more Shoshanas, L'Kedushin Nitnu. So if later the shtar turns into, now it's by Kesef. Now if you say by shtar, the counterpart to that would be that the shtar Kinyan, the shtar of Mechira, would turn into a shtar Kedushin. What else is there? Because he's not giving her any money, according to Mandi Amar Lamafreya. Because we could even be talking about cases where there is no money left, and he's not taking any money out of his pocket. So how does it work? How does it become a shtar kedushin? It's not the right kind of shtar kedushin. If it's a shtar kedushin, then the Adon would have to write it. How can he paskin like Rav Huna and paskin Moshe Shanas? So you know what the Minchas Chinuch says? It's not lamafreya. It's not. It's a shtar mecher, and it's, you know what? If you did it, if you made a kinyan with a shtar, I mean, if you paid money, it don't make a difference. The money wasn't part of the kinyan of Amavriya, right? If you hold that if you hold Shainas, most of Shainas, then and you made the kinyan with the shtar, the Amavriya with the shtar, so then the shtar is not Kesef Kedushin L'Mafreya. The shtar is not a shtar Kedushin L'Mafreya, and you'll have to say that he'll have to give money at the Shas Yud later, and there everybody would be minded that there has to be a certain amount of avdus left, Shavapruta worth of avdus left to make Kedushin, it's not so that would be more like Rashi's mashma, that because Rashi says a case is that he said Yudali bekesef miknasayich. Mashma, if it's star, we're not talking about a case of star. Really, the whole thing going. Okay, so that's the Minchas Chinuch, but the Rosh Hashiva did have a couple of problems with that. First of all, Rosh Hashiva says there would be then two cases of Yud. One is where it's Lamafreya, and one is where it's Mikan Haba at Shas Yud. And that's sort of like, nobody ever mentions that. Why should you say that the Torah talks about two kinds of Yud? There's nothing mentioned. It's just like your Shita, right? So now there's a Chayra according to the Ram should have paskened Adon Kaisvei. Shtar Mechira Adon Kaisvei, Shtar Mavriya Adon Kaisvei, because then if he holds Lumafreya, then the Shtar could have been Shtar Kedusha Lumafreya, and then the Adon wrote a Shtar Kedusha and gave it to the Yacht, just like any other Kedusha. If he doesn't, then obviously the Ram holds that only the whole machlokes is by kesef. If there was a shtar by the Amavriya, it does not become shtar kedusha l'mafreya, and that's a little bit funny because then and then where do you get? So where is the kedusha from? The kedusha, because according to the Rambam, the Av wrote the shtar, gave it to the Adon. That's not a right. That's not shtar kedusha. So it must be the kesef that you do b'shasiyun. And if that's the case, we have two different kinds of yud. And then he has another problem. This is a real problem. Rashi points out there's a machlokes. There's a big nafkamina according to in the machlokes Moshe Shainis, because if you hold Moshe Shainis and therefore shtar is mafreya also shtar kedushin, so then the Adon beats any later mekadosh. Because everything goes retroactively, but if it happens later, if it's the yud is b'shas the yud, the actual real yud, not the original. The original ma'isa was just a ma'isa kinyana for an amavri, and later you do yud kedushin. So that's the case. Anybody who comes in first before the adon does the yud will be her husband. Okay, so it's a little bit schwer. So according to the Rosh Hashiva, then it's a little schwer, and I want you to know that I heard a teretz that he has, and I would love to tell it over to you. I could just tell it over to you, but I really don't understand it, so I'm not gonna. Right, Minchas Chinuch. So just let's go on. The Gemara says on that was Amud Beis. The Gemara says on Amud Aleph. You test someone else that that a person can can allow his daughter a Ktana, even though she's a Ktana, to accept her own kedushin, and I'll give you a blank check. You can do whoever you want. Don't need to come to find if I acquiesce. And the more says you learn it out from Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda, because according to Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda, the money goes to her because she's the Oma. And there's a shava pruta left of Avdus, maybe more, and when you're meichel it, and when you say that money goes for kedushin, so I mean it never gets to the Av. So how does it? But she's a Ktana. Yeah. So how does Ktana? How does it help? The halacha is a Ktana and Ktana don't have a yad. Now what is the yad? Let's just get understand. In the Torah, it's you need a means to be kind. You need a means to be makabel. And if there's a mice of kinyan and you need a kabbalah, if there's a mice of gershon, you need a kabbalah's gershon. You need a yad. Now this yad is not. It's not physical. It doesn't mean your hand. The Gemara says that your chotzer is your yad. The Gemara says that your roof is your yad. A person can, if you want to be kind of something. Actually, the Gemara says that you can be kind of a kinyan gzela if you throw the gazelle into your yard. So what does it mean? It just means that a yad. The Torah says the yad is if you have a yad, then it reached you, and if it reached you, then it's a kabbalah. If you don't have a yad, you're a cotton. Certainly, if you're a child that doesn't understand an infant, then you have no means to make a Kabbalah. Putting it in a child's hand, an infant's hand, is meaningless. The halacha could be, if he yarshened a piece of land and it's a good chutzner, maybe he could be kind of from ayidei chutzner, but chutzner doesn't have to. It's a good yacht, especially if you hold chutzner mitam yad, because you have to. Then the chutzner is your yacht, but nothing else would be a yacht, right? Normally, so a cotton doesn't have a yacht. And so how's it shaykh that she should be allowed to make her own kedushin? So I mean, it's not only a kasha that how does a guy tell his daughter? Not talking about an Alma. How's he allow his daughter to be mekadosh and it helps? It's her receipt is not a kabbalah, so there was no ma'aseh kedushin. But the Gemara does say we learned this out from Rabbi Yehuda, because otherwise how can there be yiyud? Because we need the Odin gives her away the rest of the Abdus for Kedushin, and it reaches her, it doesn't reach him. So where's there a Kabbalah's Kedushin must be that she has, it works. Now there are several shitas how it works. The first shita is the Ritva and the Ramban. The Ritva is right here, Amarava, and the Ramban is Daf Tesam and Aleph. And they say there's a halacha of if we have a case where if a guy goes over to an Isha, wants to be Makadosh, and says, "Here, I'm going to be Makadosh with this item or this money," and she says to him, "Throw it in the water, throw it into the sea, throw it into the lake." So does that mean, Mara wants to know, does that mean jump in a lake? And the answer is no. Or does that mean just she was testing him if he's a ragzan, is he hothead, and if he does it and he doesn't, he's not all upset, then it's good to kedusha, right? Well, how does it work? And she never received anything. Goes into Davy Jones' locker. So I mean, nobody gets it. I mean, we're not talking about a case where we went looking for it and we found it in like the Titanic. Teretz says that Smidin Orif. An Orif received nothing, and yet he becomes an Orif. It's considered his chayvus. It's like he was makabel something. The answer is because it's chiddush Torah. If you listen to an Orif, if you follow the Orifs and accept the Orif for an Orif, then it's considered as if he was makabel. For example, if you guarantees your a loan to somebody, and so the malva, it's as if the loiva received the same money that the loiva did, or it's all because al pita loiva, al pita arav, the malva lent money. So he listened to the arav saying to the Isha, she told him to throw it in the water, and so he threw it in the water, and because she threw it in the water, it's like she received, but she didn't really receive anything. Mela here too, even though she's a Ktana, and a Ktana has no yacht, but it works midin a chiddush of a din arv, and then we have a rush. The rush is right in our parak, Siman Tezvav, and he says that she becomes his shliach, the father's shliach. And then if he's a shliach, so then when father has a yacht, a Ktana and a cotton can't be a shliach either. Not only does he doesn't yad, there's no shlichus for a cotton and Ktana, so the Rosh is mechanish that's only when you're an agent, when you're a disinterested agent for somebody. That you can't be a cotton, that kind of can't be an agent for somebody. Mashen here she's going to be end up mekodeshes. She's from this tz'iva kibli kiddushayach, from being a shliach. So so whenever it's a case where the shlichus will be for her benefit, and it's totally for her benefit. Then you even Ktana has a din shlichus, and she's a shliach of the father to be makabel the kesef. It's like, and so since she's a shliach, it's like you gave the father the money, and he's a godel. He's this shlichus over here. I'm not even going to begin to go into it because it's another day and another dollar. Boy, is it another dollar. When you get into the second parak, there's shlichus. When you get into daf Daf Yud and Bava Metzia, there's din shlichus. But so how this works, what the point, if you're not Torah remind you that there's no shlichus for cotton and Ktana, so how does it help that it's for your benefit? Okay. The Rashba says another word. Rashba says, and it's a different maskal, Amar Rava, Amar Rab Nachman, because Rava Nachman said that Amar Adam Labita Yitziv Kibli Kedeshayach Mid Reb Yasib Reb Yehuda. So he says what goes on over here is the father can give over his chusim that he has minatayr, that since the father has chusim over his bitoach Ktana minadin, so he gives it over to the Ktana. Now the Ktana, what was missing? She doesn't have a yacht, so he gives it over. Here's my yacht. Now the Rebbe Chanana and Kavitzaris and Simon Chavtes, he don't like this. He says we have a klal in Ma'aseh Katan Klum. What you see from the Rebbe Chanan from that he means to learn in Ma'aseh Katan Klum that it just a cotton can't do a chalais. He can't be pile chalais. So how was it help me giving you over my kaiches, my dinim? You can't use my dinim. You don't have a kayach. There's no juice here. So I mean, I would. The Rosh Yeshiva wants to say that it's not the meaning of. That's not the chesaron of a cotton. If we say cotton ain't ma'aseh katan klum, that's because he just doesn't have the parsha. In other words, whatever the parsha awards a person, he gives him a yacht, he gives him shlichus, then a cotton was never given that. And so here, you're right. So that's why she doesn't have a yacht, but the father does. So the chiddush is that he can give it over to her, give it his yacht. There's no innate ikuv that she can't make a chalais. The reason why she can't make a chalais is she doesn't have a din. He gave her over the din, and first, and so the Rosh Yeshiva wants to say that it's because it's in Smayit, because you always find that the chesaron of a cotton Ktana is that they're not bardeya. And now, so I mean, it's not being bardeya doesn't mean you can't make a chalais. It just means that you're not in the parsha. And he'll bring a raya. Not being bardeya is a chesaron. We see the Gemara says we learn out that a cotton can't make smicha on a korban. Why? Because you need a bardeya. Learn out. Yeah. So Frank the Rosh Yeshiva, according to the Rebbe Chanan, why can he not make smicha? There is no chalais being generated of him. There's no chalais smicha. There's no chalais on smicha is a requirement for a kosher korban. Mela, so if no chalais, not like a chalais. I make a korban. It's like a neder. It's just one of the things you got to do to bring a korban. You have to make, and you need smicha so that it should be a kapara for you. Mela, but so if since you see that, but and a cotton isn't smite because Mor says you need a bardeis. So I mean, all you see that is that a cotton is not in the parsha. So here, it doesn't. It's like the cotton's missing. I'm missing a din. So from Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, you learn out that you can give your din over to a cotton, and then he can do it. The last shita here is Taisus. Taisus says. Over there on your Testament Aleph, Aimer Adam Labita says, the whole thing is moot. You know what? You know what? Up to now, we thought that a Ktana doesn't have a yacht. A Ktana has a yacht. That's the problem. The problem is you thought the Ktana doesn't have a yacht. She does have a yacht. Who told you she doesn't have a yacht? Yeah, so she does have a yacht. From Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, from the Chiddush of Yud that you do Yud later, and it goes to the Egypt. She has a yacht. Yeah. So on that, and that's why it works. But a Ktana, we know that she can't make kedushin without the father. And let's say she's a yisayim, there is no father. So we say that the family makes kedushin, the brothers, the mother, they make kedushin, and it's kedushin d'Rabbanan, and you don't even need that kind of kedushin is not a kedushin d'oraisa, and you don't even need a get. You do mian. Why not? But you just said that she has a yacht. So why is it kedusha d'Rabbanan? right? So we don't need the father to allow her, according to the other shitas, according to the Rashba, she has to get the schus and the din that the father has. So by a Ktana Yisayma, there's no father, so she can't get it. And according to the Rosh, she has to be a shlich of the father. There's no father. So, but if so, why? So then, but if it's not true. She does have a yad. Maybe a Katan doesn't have a yad, but a Ktana does, right? So then, why is it that a Kedusha, a Katan Yisayma is called Kedusha Rabbanan, and Mian helps? It should be Kedusha Deraisa. Yeah, and Avnei Meluim, because of this, Avnei Meluim Siman Lamed Zayin Sifkat and Gimel says that as a result he learns that Taisus really means like the Rosh, but that it's not that she has her own yad. She has a schus. She has now a yad because the father gave her yad. Except it's a little bit schwer. You're putting words in Taisus' mouth. This doesn't say anything about that. Now, so Zakta Rashiva that Ktana could be Makabel Kedusha. That's what Taisa says. She has a yad, yeah, and it's a Maisa Kedusha, giving her directly. What about a Yisayma? Why wouldn't it work by Yisayma? It's only the Rabbon over there. He says the Rashiva says Machadish. There are two dinim in having a legitimate yad. There's a yad, the actual yad itself. Now there's two. You need a means, and there's two parts to having a means. One is having the means, and the second one is having a means that's potent, that's bkoach. A Ktana, you see from what Taisus means over here is that you see from over here that a Ktana has a yad, but that's only a Shem yad. It's not a potent one. But from Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, you learn out that the father can give over potency, a koach. This is this, and once she has a koach, so she has a yad that is bkoach to make a kabbalah, so it's a good to kedusha. And by a Saima, there's nobody to hand over to give her yad a koach. It believes a yad that doesn't have any potency, and we need to be mavayar this more. Let's bring down the Mechaber and Chaysh Mishpat in Siman Resh Mem Gimel Sif Yudalid. He holds that a cotton is not zeichen and mitzia midaraisa. It's only midarabanan and bnei darkei shalom. We're not going to have fights if the kid finds a pearl. He wants to give it to his parents, and so we're going to have bad feelings because he'll just take candy away from pearls away from babies. We're not talking about a baby. We're talking about a 10-year-old. Yeah, and that's all. But it's only Rabbon, right? But the Ramah in that Sif Yadalad says that's by a Metzia, but by a Matana. Somebody gives a Katna Matana. It helps midaraisa. Why? Because he holds that you have Dasacheres Makna. Since you have somebody who's making it the cotton has a din yad, and it becomes, he gets a kinyan deraisa, he gets a legitimate kinyan, and because by Metzia there's nobody awarding it to you, you're taking it from Hefker Samel. Your yad is not a potent yad by itself. But if somebody's granting it to you, so he gives you the potency, and the Shach, but Shach doesn't. Shach shrais chai v'kayim. Shach says right there in Sifkat and Vav, he says, hey, listen, if you can be zaycha, if a cotton could be zaycha in a matana, so then he has a yad. If he has a yad, why can't he be zaycha in a mitzvah? But the answer is, as we were saying, that he does have a shem yad, but it's unusable yad. It's a non-performing yad. So by a mitzvah he can't be zeicha, but by a matana, somebody else is giving them the koach to perform to his yad. The noisen is making it work. Okay. And now, so Maisa cotton is a Maisa, but it's just a Maisa without a koach. Male is a male of somebody else. Right. somebody else is awards, and it gives you a gift, so he's making it work. Same thing. Okay, so okay. Okay. Now, Tysus, go back to our Tysus. Says that our Tysus over here, the one that says Aimer Adam, Lebita Ktana Tzivi Kibli Kedushayach, asked the Kasha. That's by Das Acheres. We know that works by moment. How can we say Das Acheres over here by Kedushin? So the fact that the Adon or the Makadish gives them, forget about the Adon. This is not talking about Tziv Kibli. He's talking about a regular Ktana. Where's the Das Acheres Makna? He wants to give her money, but he's not the Makna. The Av is the Makna. In fact, Rashi and it's either Mem Beis or Mem Dalet Amid Aleph on the top, on the wide lines before it gets narrower. Rashi says that the Gemara says that you need her Ratzon to make a Dushan because Rashi says she's the Makna. You need, and if you don't have a Ratzon, you don't have a Makna. Who is Makna? In other words, but this is another Rashi out there, and you've almost and it's on your test over there, and it says because you have a pasuk, yacht of a holcha leishacher, so ma yitzia v'hoisel leishacher. That v'hois is mashma mirtzayna. So it is a steer. Everybody knows it's a steer, and everybody talks about it. But Lamaisa, Rashi says that she's the makna in Kedushin, in the mems, mem beis or mem daled. Amar Aleph says that she's the makna, and if she's the makna, so giving the Makadish gives her money, so there's no, and she's a Ktana, she has a yacht that's not potent, it's not bkoach. So who's makna? Who's the Das Acheres makna over here, right? And so Tysus says that since the father said Siva Kibli, the father is the Das Acheres makna. Okay. So and that's according to our vort that she has the kayach. She has a din, a yad, but it can't perform. It can't. It's lost. It doesn't have any potency. So but since the av was given the rights over his bita Ktana, so he gives her the kayachas in her yad. So it's mamish like das acheres makna. I do want to point out there's one more little aspect that nobody's mentioned except me. I'm going to mention it right now. The problem is, where's she getting the money from? Go back to Ivri. If you hold Lavlik, Rabbi Yehuda holds that the B'shas Yid, that's the shas of Nesinas Mos. You don't say Lama Freya. So the question is, and she has a yacht. According to the Rush, she's a shliach, and according to the Rashba, she has her father's. She completely has her father's chus in her pocket. So the problem is like this: giving. How can she get this money? She's an amavriya. So how did she become? How did her amhus disappear? How did her avdus disappear? And if her avdus didn't disappear, what's making it disappear is what? She's mukadeshes and she's alma at the same. She remains an alma. That's a valid. Not doesn't make any sense. Of course, she's not an alma anymore. She's an isha. It says sherik sus v'ayna la yigra. She's got all the dinim that a husband is chayiv to his wife. So what happened to the avdus? Tarat says he was Michael. But Mechila, we just went through this whole thing a couple of shiurim back. There's no Mechila. Every gufa kanoi. And you need a star. It doesn't help Mechila. So where let's say she has a yacht, everything's good. What happened to the avdus? Where was their shichur? So I want to say that everybody holds let's say it's forget about Yel Mafreya, not Lamafreya, Mshas Yud. The kesef of that is the kesef that is working here helps me, gives her shichur mitzad groin kesef, and she becomes Isa Mavriya, and then it turns around and it becomes kesef kedusha. It acts as just as a yitzia of groin kesef and as kedusha kesef. But in all cases, she needs a yad, so that's a kabbalah, so that this growing, the Maisa growing kesef should work to be Meshachar, and then should be a kabbalah, so that the Maisa Kedusha should work to be Meshachar, and it can't be Mechila. But that's just me. This has been Clip 11, and it's Erev Shabbos, and I'm wearing my bkoach, and I got to get out of here.